much love, and you bring me so much joy. I can't understand why you do it, but you do. Yeah, I know you give me so much love, so much.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Pastor 83 here, and I'm here with the lovely and feisty and sassy. What's your name?
My name is Jessica.
Her name is Jessica. Well, since she gave you her government name, my government, for those who don't know what government is, Armour. So I'm Armour, she's Jessica.
Better known as Pastor 83 and Lady J.
Yeah. And so, guys, guess what? December 6th, me and this girl get to celebrate 15 years of marriage. 15 long, hard, crazy, amazing, good, hard years of marriage. And so, we were talking the other day, and we just had this idea, like, people are always surprised at the fact when they be like, well, how long have you guys been married? Well, first they say, are you guys brother and sister? And then I'm like, no, but if we were, we just gonna live in sin, but that's neither here nor there.
Father.
But first they say, are you guys brothers and sisters? Then we say, no, we're married. Well, how long y'all married? We be like, 14 years. They be like, 14 years? How old are y'all? And so I'm 35.
And I am 33.
And we've been married for 15 years, which means I married her when she was
18.
and I was 20. I always get that mixed up. So she was 18 and I was 20 and we got married. And so we were talking, man, 15 is a dope milestone. And so we wanted to kind of share that journey with you all or whoever cares, and just kind of talk about marriage and talk about our marriage, and just kind of really be candid and open about this journey and adventure. Open and candid about this, not churchy and deep and spiritual. We're going to be deep and spiritual.
No, we are. The Holy Spirit dwells within us.
All that. But we're going to get real. Like, marriage is a doozy. You feel me?
A doozy?
Yeah, man. And so we just wanted to do that, right?
Yes, I am definitely excited about us celebrating 15 years of marriage. And it has definitely been a journey, but one that I can honestly say, I speak for myself, that I've truly enjoyed.
I enjoyed it too.
No.
I'm enjoying it. Like, it's fun. I'd rather be nowhere else doing anything else.
I know.
Like, marriage is great.
It's phenomenal.
It's awesome. Like, seriously. Like, I'm no cap. Like, seriously, I love being married. I love being married to Jessica. Marriage is great. And so a lot of people just always ask, like, the common questions. How'd you guys meet? Where'd you guys meet? What's your story and all that? But I think our story began, believe it or not, and this may sound weird to some, before we got married. Like, before we even met, right? Like, so I think God was just kind of like orchestrating our lives, even
absolutely
growing up.
Yeah, because you grew up totally different than myself.
Totally different.
Okay. Where'd you grow up?
You know where I grew up. Where did you grow up? Is the question. Tell these people where you grew up.
I grew up in Northeast Kansas City, which is
made it sound so sweet.
Which is considered
Northeast. Is that by the airport? No, baby girl, no, Northeast. Tell them. Tell them.
I see. There's a difference. There's a difference between North Kansas City, and there's a difference between something that we say here in Kansas City, down north. Even though north is not down, but when you live in the city, it's called down north.
Yeah.
So I lived like kind of down north, like 24th Street, 21st Street, that kind of thing. So that's considered Northeast Kansas City. Yes, hood. And so you grew up in your nice, wonderful 2-parent
Yeah.
Jesus loving home.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't trade it for nobody and nothing.
Yeah,
I
amen.
grew up in a 2-parent home. Both my parents loved Jesus, served the Lord. We were taught
Mhm,
biblical values. We were taught to love Jesus.
mhm,
That don't mean everything stuck,
mhm.
but our parents, showed us the way. I never saw my parents argue. I
Mm.
never. I can't remember my parents arguing. I never saw them fuss. Never saw them fight.
On the flip side, my mom was a single parent, 5 of us. Um, our father was a drug addict. And so, just grew up in that type of environment, unfortunately. And, we did not know Jesus. We didn't know the Lord or anything about the Lord. And so definitely we come from two
Yeah.
totally different backgrounds. And so which makes, and I know a lot of married couples have differences and maybe come from some different backgrounds. But really it was so unique because when I gave my life to the Lord, or however you want to say it, I was 17 years old and we had just moved to the suburb of Lee Summit, Missouri. And so that was really the Lord opening that door. As a teenager, I grew up and I really had this inner search in me, this inner void that I literally felt growing up, especially as a teenager. And as I got older, it grew wider and wider. And I wasn't sure about God. I didn't even know if He really existed. And I remember nights where I would say, okay, if there is this God or whatever, like, why am I here? And so God kind of led us through this path. And I was led my mom to move us to the suburbs and all that kind of thing. And then bam.
Yeah. Then we met. We met, and I have the truth on how we met, and she has her version of how we met. But I promise y'all, like, this is how it went. We were on a little church trip. You feel me? I was back from college. I went to college in a small town in
You were
Missouri.
back from
I
college?
was back from college.
Mm.
It was spring break, but it was like forever for me because
Yeah, I'm
I
like, that wasn't spring for
it was
you.
spring break for everybody else, but for me, it
That
was
was your
just forever
forever
because
break.
I ain't go back.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there she is in the church or whatever, and I see her, and she's new
You
because this
saw me.
this is my parents' church. So I see her, and this is like new. I'm like, who is this? I've never seen. So she had started attending the church while I was in college.
Hmm.
So I'm like, who is this? Like, I knew everybody. I'm the pastor's son. I knew everybody. And I see her, I'm like, who is this girl that's here and I don't know nothing about? So I'm looking at her, and I kind of keep staring at her because she's interesting looking. I'm like, no, in my no.
Interesting looking, like, is interesting a compliment?
Yeah, because in my mind, I'm gonna tell you in my mind, I think I said like I'd never seen anybody who looked like her before. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't have like a common face
Okay.
or even a common countenance. Like, she was just kind of sitting and she was looking at like she was engaged to what was going on, but it was just whatever. So I was looking, and so we were doing this Easter thing, and so we were doing some singing, and so I positioned myself to where my singing would hit her ear. And so I'm singing loud or whatever, and she never looked up, never
No,
turned to the
never.
side, never acknowledged the fact that I was killing the little Easter song or whatever. She didn't care. So
I didn't
so
care.
fast forward, we go on this like church retreat or something, this youth retreat or something. I think
Youth
it was
camp
youth
something,
camp
yeah.
something, and we on the bus and we talking, and so I'm asking her questions. Hey, what's up? What's your name? What's your sign? You know what I'm saying?
Boo.
Right, all that, and we
No.
talking, and she's like, I just broke up with my boyfriend because
Mm-mm.
I'm trying to pursue
Mm-mm.
Jesus, and he don't
No.
want to pursue Jesus. I'm
No,
like,
no,
oh, for
no,
real, for real.
no.
And so we get together, we talk, we exchange numbers. I get to the crib, my phone rings. I look down at my flip, my Sony flip, because that's what I had, a little silver flip. And guess who's calling me immediately after we exchange numbers? It's Jessica Shante, Cole then. And so I answer the phone, and the rest is history. We end up getting married, but it's a lot of details in there I probably missed.
Okay, all right.
But that's the story.
All right. So, how did I end up at his parents' church?
Yeah.
Well, when we moved to the suburbs, my senior year of high school, there was a young lady who sat behind me. She was a basketball player. So, we were doing this one particular survey, in class that said, how many times do you go to church or any other religious organization during the week? So we didn't go to church. So I put 0. And because she was, was 0 was an option. And so because she was so tall, she was able to see that I put 0. So this was her opportunity to invite me to her church. Now, just so happens by the sovereignty of God, obviously, but this was his parents' church and he was not there yet. But we lived like less than 10 minutes away. Her parents, who were actually deacons at the church, came and picked me up that first Sunday, and I never left. I gave my life to the Lord there, and and it was great. Got involved, and and the rest is pretty much history.
The rest is history. Yeah. And so, we started dating. It was kind of like my first real date. Like I didn't really.
Because I'm a real one.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I didn't really date. Like I grew up in the culture where it was like you didn't date. You know what I'm saying? Like they took you places, or you know what I'm saying, It was just like that weird macho, chauvinistic. I don't have no soft side. Come bring me a plate, pull up, you know what I'm saying? That whole thing. But like, I really wanted to date her. Like, I really wanted to.
So very bad. So even though I called you first, I did call you first, but you wanted to date me so very bad. You were almost like begging to take me. So I think we talked on the phone for a good 3 months before we actually went on a date. Because I was like, I don't know. I don't care nothing about you being no pastor son. I don't even know what none of this is about, sir. What do you want?
I just wanted a date. And so I finally got the date. But let me tell you how I ended up being granted permission to even pursue her. As a PK, if there are any PKs watching, PK stands for pastor's kid. You know that sometimes you just the worst one in the church. You know, unfortunately, man. You know what I mean? I feel like the enemy just attacks you differently. No, but
or you just don't exhibit
just out here bad, just no self-control, just out here bad. And it got to the point where my father like had to have a hostile conversation with me. And he was just like, don't you ever in your life talk to another female in this church. I mean, to the point he turned red and looked me dead in my eyes, and I was scared to death. You know what I'm saying? But then here she comes, and I'm like, dang. Like, we just had this conversation. I'm like, dang, please, please. And so I had to go get permission, like, please, can I talk to her? Please, can I talk to her?
Let's pause because I did not even know that. So when I noticed he was checking me out before the whole number exchange. And he would say little stuff like, oh, so you can't speak to nobody? So you act like that. So you act like you don't see me.
Because she just would walk past like I wasn't even there. Like I'm in my mind, I'm like, how can you not see all this? Like I'm tall, light-skinned, can sing, handsome. And you just walking past me like I don't even exist.
I was focused on Jesus.
Man, I was so upset. So you just gonna walk past me and I say, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I used to do that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So when we began talking on the phone and that kind of thing, like I said, it was a few months and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll go on a date with him. So I actually asked his mom, your mom, because I really did really love them, really respected them. They really loved me and, just even took me in and all of that before he and I dated. So I wanted to know, is it okay if I date your son? And your mom's words to me were, oh my gosh, I think it would be awesome. I think that would be really good. But I need to talk to his dad first. But don't worry about it. I'm going to handle that.
Wow. That's crazy. Because my dad was going to kill me. I saw it in his eyes. He was going to jail for murder. Permission was granted and all that stuff. And so I finally got to take her on a date. And
our first date was
Macaroni Grill.
Macaroni Grill.
I took her to Macaroni Grill. She had to pick me up.
I did.
In her mama's van. Because
Yeah,
my
because
license
your
was revoked.
license was revoked.